Okay, dreamer please.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So we have gotten the exclusive equipment update yesterday with the catastrophe rate, and I think many players still have some confusion or uncertainty about how you can build them and who you should build them for. We are first going to talk about how you can build the exclusive item. So the first step is to really do your catastrophe rate all by the package and get 100 shards. Okay, purification crystal shards. Once you have 100 purification crystal shards, okay, this is a real tongue twister. You can craft for a purification crystal with gold, of course. And once you are done with that, you can actually make a vessel. This vessel will require steel, 10 steel and gold. It is basically crafting for a rare item, okay, in that sense. And with this rare item in your inventory, you need to plus 15 it. Okay, you can either use rare enhancement stones or even legend enhancement stones if you feel that the percentage at the end is a little too low for you to upgrade it. You can even use legend enhancement stones if you are really desperate. Okay, so once you got the vessel to plus 15, you can throw in all these other ingredients, which is 500 crimson essence. You get crimson essence from salvaging your legendary gear. Okay, you also need 1 million gold, and you also need the soul stone of the respective hero itself. So if you are making an exclusive equipment for Rudy, you will need 20, okay, for rare heroes 30, and for greater heroes 40. And there you have your exclusive equipment. So very straightforward. It's just that the process of getting there is going to be very long, especially for free-to-play players. You're gonna need a lot of time and grind, especially to get a lot of soul shards for that respective hero. Is going to take a long while. So moving on, I'm going to tell you guys the 26 exclusive items that Korea is getting. But as of today, there's going to be 27, okay? But I made this video actually yesterday. 27 because they're going to get Legendary plus Spike along with its exclusive equipment immediately upon release. So that's actually a little scummy on that part. I mean, think about it. He is a Legendary plus hero, but he's getting his exclusive item on the day itself, which means you need 20 soul stones for that. And only whales could do that, right? Okay, anyway. So for the schedule in Korea, this is what actually happened. They released Evan, Legend, and Cheng Chen's exclusive equipment first, and then in the same month they released Rez Eileene, Guilahan, Henry. In May they released up to 4 exclusive equipments. In June we had Adel, Ian, and Spike. So for us, Spike came out immediately, and he got his exclusive equipment really early. Okay, so which is a good thing for Spike because right now he is still relevant. And in Korea server, when June happened, I think Ace already came out and Spike was no longer relevant. Okay, and then we have in July we had Fodina Eileene and Cosette. Okay, in August they did get Rudy and Karin. So Rudy for them came out way after, and I think it didn't really make sense at that point because he's definitely not used in PvP. So the exclusive item that we will be talking about for Rudy is mainly more PvE oriented in that way. But currently in the global server, Rudy is still used in PvP, so the exclusive equipment does give him more viability and utility immediately as well. Then we also have Valdur, who got his pretty late. Ming got hers pretty late as well, actually very late. And we also have Rachel, who got hers extremely late, like only just a few months ago in Korea server. And then the most recent one is Shay, Rare Shay. Okay, so this is the rough idea of how things happen in Korea server. I'm pretty sure they're gonna change everything up, seeing how they gave us Rudies and Spikes this early. Okay, so things will change. Okay, we're gonna start with all the exclusive items. We're gonna start with Rudy. On his passive, he actually gains the new ability to increase all allies' block efficiency up to 14.8%. So take note, this is a scaled effect. That means at skill level 1, it is not going to be 14.8% like what the patch note says. Okay, it is going to reach up to 14.8% when your skill level hits level 15. So that is just a reference point for you guys. Please keep that in mind when you're making his exclusive item. Okay, so he does give increased block rate on his active skill to all allies up to 43.6% at level 13. Okay, so I'm expecting the block efficiency to be about 12% around there at level 13 as well. And this is going to be pretty good for your scenario, especially if you use him in scenario. We are probably going to get Nightmare Scenario difficulty very soon. It was supposed to be released alongside the Catastrophe update, but we didn't get it, so I'm expecting it to come out in the next 2 weeks, okay, because it has to probably come out before the Ace update, right, which will bring along the new story. So with that happening, Rudy is going to come in very clutch because he's going to be tanking a lot more damage, especially since, you know, he's already having difficulty tanking mob attacks in very hard difficulty sometimes. And I think with this additional block efficiency, you know, your entire team will become a lot more bulkier. I'm not too sure how the block efficiency really works, but you know, but one thing for sure, we will definitely be tanking more damage, and I think this is going to be a very good exclusive item to have pretty early on, especially for newer players who are still having difficulty threading through the scenario. And of course, next we have Spike. So Spike's one is purely more oriented to PvP. As you can see, he is already more of a PvP hero himself. Okay, so for his passive, once he falls below 10%, he not only has immortality, increased attack and attack speed, he will also charge his ultimate skill gauge a bit more. So at skill level 1, this is going to be 12%, and at skill level 15, this is going to be 40%. So please, again, don't be misled by the patch notes that says upright that it's 40%. It is not the case. So if your Spike is at a low level, you are not going to get that 40%. Okay, just take note of that. And of course, as we know, Spike's ultimate is extremely strong. Okay, it has a damage over time effect, it freezes, and it also removes all debuffs from himself. So when he hits immortality, it kind of helps him do more damage in that period of time, because since with the attack buff, he is already going to be stronger. So this is actually a very good exclusive item for him. I think the design is very well thought of, but the thing is, we don't know how long Spike is going to last in the meta anymore, because Ace, you know, he was teased at the end of chapter 13. So Ace is probably going to come out. I mean, with Ace around, Spike could last for a little while more, and after that, things are going to be a little tricky to say, because we're going to get even stronger heroes upcoming. So he's probably going to be relevant for the next 1 to 2 months, so that's something that you will want to consider before you actually press that button to make his exclusive equipment, okay? Next up, we have Cheng Chen. She's also released alongside the other two yesterday. Now she gets an increase in crit damage up to 92%. I think this scales as well. You're not going to get a straight up 92% in boost. Okay, that depends on your skill level. So it makes her a very strong damage dealer. But the thing is, because we have other better damage dealers, I don't feel that her exclusive item is worth the investment right now. Okay, and besides increasing her damage, there's not really any much use, even though it does boost her capabilities as a damage dealer. And if you do need a secondary damage dealer for any purpose, then I think this is going to be one of those heroes that you will want to work on, especially for newer players who do not have Cosette or Dellons, or just can't seem to get proper legendary hero damage dealers, and you have to rely on Cheng Chen. And if Cheng Chen is your sole primary damage dealer who you have worked on for a very long time, then by all means, if you want to work on her, go ahead. So now we're going to talk about all the other important exclusive items that are about to come. First, we have Shay. She's going to get increased crit rate for herself, and she also increases her crit rate for 20 seconds up to 73.6%, okay, with her skill 2, which is the one that casts stealth on her. So this is a huge buff for Shay, because as we know, Shay relies on crit rate to get attack boost, and currently I think her base crit rate is not that high, and if you were to give her crit gear, then it only gets up to not a very high percentage as well, and you're still relying on some chance. But with this itself, and if you cast this skill immediately when she goes into battle, okay, she is going to get such a big buff in crit rate. She's technically going to crit every single time anyway. She's going to become a Dellons basically, and with her passive, she's going to stack up her attack stats insanely, and she'll become a very strong damage dealer. This is also applicable in PvP. Okay, so that is why in the previous video I mentioned that when Shay got her exclusive item in Korea server, she really just came back into the whole meta for a long period. Okay, even though now, as we are speaking, she is no longer used as much, but prior to this, she had almost about I would say, a 5-month return in the PvP meta. Okay, so gotta be very strong. I think if those who have Shane will definitely want this on her. Okay. Next up we have Cosette. So I think this is a given, you have to make it for Cosette. Cosette is already so good, but this exclusive equipment makes her even better. It not only increases the crit damage for a certain period of time, it also allows her to charge her ultimate skill gauge, which is something that I feel sometimes Cosette kind of lacks, because sometimes it's a little slow in terms of dealing ultimates, but with this, I think she is going to get such a crazy boost in damage output in a shorter period of time. So this is definitely a must do if you have Cosette, but the thing is we don't know when it is coming out. Okay. Dellons also is one of those that you really want to have as well, because on Dellons he increases his own attack. I mean, if you thought he was doing a lot of damage already, imagine his capability with the exclusive equipment. Okay, he's going to not only have critical hits, but he's going to have much stronger critical hits, okay, in that case. So alongside with his attack gear, or you could even give him attack speed to give him to make him hit faster and harder. I think this is one of those exclusive items which you also want to wait for. So those were damage dealers, and then we have Rachel, who is kind of like a damage dealer and also like a support hero. Now for her exclusive equipment, she does give all allies increased combo chance damage. Okay, which kind of means that your basic attacks or your combo attacks are going to be hitting harder. So this is going to pair very well with Cosette. I'm not too sure about the combo chances of the other damage dealers, okay, but Rachel herself does give increased combo chance already. So straight up, she is just going to boost all your damage capability in the whole team, because I think this is going to be one of those exclusive items that you will immediately see an effect when you use her in your team. Don't forget that even though you may have completed most of the dungeon and raids, there's also going to be scenario, and there's going to be a lot more scenario and cast and celestial tower that is about to come. And I think all these modes, okay, even just with little damage increases, you're gonna see much more of a positive impact in your clearing. So after this, we need to talk about a very important group of heroes, and those are your resistance heroes. All of them are getting exclusive equipment, and according to the Korea server, they are all very recommended. Okay, the first is Scott. On his passive, he gains this ability to increase allies' attack in the Nestra rate itself up to 45%. 45%, like, firstly, he is a greater hero, so I think your soul shards for him are definitely not going to be lacking. So it's going to be easy to get his exclusive item. And you're probably going to max his level out anyway, so this buff in the Nestra rate is almost guaranteed. And why is this buff so important? If you think about it, firstly, it allows you to farm for a Nestra rate, and Nestra rate gives you the mats for attack speed sets, and you will need quite a number of attack speed sets, okay, on a couple of heroes. Even in your PvP, you may need attack speed sets, for 2 to 3 heroes sometimes, you never know. So it's good to have more attack speed sets on hand, and this literally allows you to do so, and also allows you to farm for moonstones if you do need. This makes Nestra rate likely to be the easiest rate to farm for things, for materials. So in Korea server, many players do recommend other players to build Scott up because it is that good. But if you are someone that has already completed your T15, of course you won't see as much value for this. For players who have difficulty completing T15, this is gonna be a shoe-in, like, for you. You're definitely gonna be able to clear it much easier with this exclusive item. Of course, you may think that, do I really need to have an exclusive item just to clear the raid? You don't, because people like, many players do clear the raid even without the exclusive item. But think about the long-term effect you're gonna have in terms of your farming. Okay, it depends on your playstyle, of course. If you're not a farmer, then you won't see much benefit with this as well. But if you do want to farm for your gear, this is going to help. And think about the future T16 rates that we are getting. This is definitely going to help. Same goes for Henry. So Henry is going to be one that is going to be specialized for the variant rate. He's going to gain attack and attack speed, and he's going to get a flat boost of 20% attack and 15% attack speed. So according to Happy Buddha, I spoke to him when making this video for his ideas of the exclusive equipment overall. He did tell me that Henry can out damage a Cosette in the variant rate because of this exclusive item. So that is how insane this exclusive item could potentially be on a Henry if you give him the right gear as well. So I think in future when T16 raids come out, this is going to make a huge difference in whether you can clear it easily or not. And of course for players who are already facing difficulty in the raid itself, okay, this is going to help you as well to clear T15 much easier and much faster, and then you can proceed with whatever farming you need. I would rank this very highly as well. Next up we have Guilahan. So as we all know, Guilahan, he has some problems tanking damage. Alright, and over here he's going to gain this ability to taunt, which is something that I think most players will feel that he needs, because he is a tank but he can't taunt. And in Gigantus he always targets other heroes apart from Guilahan, depending on the positioning of the hero. So having the taunt now is going to help Guilahan so much more, and he also gets a shield if he uses his skill 3. So he not only taunts, also applies a shield, so he's going to be tanking damage properly for now. So he's definitely going to be tanking some damage, and that's going to be extremely useful if you want to speed clear Gigantus. Not only Gigantus, think about all your scenario bosses that burn you. This is going to help so much. So Guilahan's exclusive equipment is definitely high up on the must-have list. Okay, same for Adel. He will gain this new skill. He will gain this new effect to increase the damage received by the target. But the thing about Adel is that he is mostly used in Dunfrost. Right, he is not really used in the scenario except for maybe the chapter 2 boss, the Ice Golem. But beyond that, I don't really see much use for him at all. And this is probably going to be very helpful for Dunfrost, because in Dunfrost you kind of lack the debuffs and you may not be doing enough damage to him in that period of time. So this is kind of good for him, because he now becomes a debuffer as well, since you're probably not going to be using Rachel in that raid. Okay, so this is going to help players who have not been able to clear Dunfrost properly to clear it much more efficiently. Then we have Ian. Ian straight up gives all allies crit rate increase, which is going to be extremely helpful as well, because he's going to buff all your damage capabilities with this skill. But the thing is, as I mentioned in my Lizardria video, T15 is probably the easiest T15 raid, and I think most players, when you hit a certain amount of gear, a certain level of gear and certain level of heroes, you should be able to clear it even without this exclusive equipment. Okay, but then again, you remember he is also used in your scenario. So for those players who do feel any issue with scenario, this is going to help as well. And of course we have future T16 raids as well to prepare for. So all these resistance heroes, their equipment, their exclusive equipment actually really boosts their capabilities, and your entire team's capability to clear the raids much better. And when T16 comes, these exclusive equipment will be must-haves in order to clear the raid efficiently. So there are other PvE heroes that have very good exclusive equipments, like Karin. She straight up just gives her passive to all your entire team right now, which is something that I felt that she should have been doing. But no, she only increases her own status effect resistance across all states. Okay, but now with the exclusive equipment, she gives it to all your entire team. So that is why I think with this exclusive item, she also becomes a very good hero in PvP, because you're gonna get 20% more status effect resistance for any status effect in PvP as well. So, and she's a great healer, she revives. So that is why I think in terms of tank teams, they started to use Karin more with this release of her exclusive equipment. Even in PvE, this is going to be so good in your scenarios, in your raids. I mean, you're using Karin in almost every raid, and this is going to help so much stacking on with your masteries and your resistance heroes. Okay. Then we have Miss Velvet. Okay, she is more of a damage dealer as well, but because her exclusive equipment specifically increases her damage only when she attacks from behind. for a short period of time. So I'm not too sure how this works, whether manually moving her to the back of the enemy will trigger this, or do you only trigger it when she jumps to the back of the enemy. Yeah, all these things I'm not too sure about, so I cannot rate this as high as I want to, but it's definitely going to give her additional damage output, and her additional damage comes from a percentage of her attack. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna be pretty strong if she hits the enemy from behind. Then we have Lene. So this Lene is purely kind of used in Gigantus only so far, and with her exclusive equipment she's going to get an effect that increases the crit rate of your allies for a certain period of time, and it will also decrease the target's defense even more than it already is currently doing. Okay, so as a Gigantus support unit, I think this is also pretty useful. Okay, in the long run when you're doing your T16 clears. Even at the moment, I think it will help a lot, because with the crit rate buff, you will be doing more damage in a shorter period of time, and also you're decreasing his defense even more. So the damage wise, I don't think you need to be worried about it if you're using Lene with the exclusive equipment. So I would say this is pretty good. Then we have Shay. So for Shay, she merely gains an additional shield when she heals a single target in your team. I can't really say this is very amazing, okay, but it does give her more survivability in that sense. And I'm not too sure if the shield is based off her HP or her attack as well, because it wasn't mentioned. So I'm assuming it is based on her HP, and if that's the case, then that would be really good, but I'm not too sure if it's based on her attack, how high that would be. Okay, but I have seen Shays being used in Korea PvP teams as well. Okay, probably because of this shield. So this shield could be a lifesaver for her. Not too sure, but we're gonna find out when it happens. Okay, then we'll move on to more PvP oriented units. We have Fodina Eileene. Basically, she not only gains bigger range, she will also become 100% immune to damage when she uses this skill for a period of time, of course. And I think this is going to be very helpful in terms of her PvP utility. She's already very good, but making her immune to damage for a certain period of time basically just allows her to do more things in that period of time, and yeah, I think it will just boost her capabilities as a PvP unit. But the thing is, she got this pretty late in Korea server, so she was kind of on the low end of usage already. So I'm hoping that if they do want to make her relevant, make this exclusive item relevant, or if they do want to milk players out of this, then they could potentially release this maybe soon, okay, before all the other stronger heroes come out. Okay, and then this exclusive item will definitely have an impact on the meta. Then we have Yeonhee. Okay, so apparently she removes her debuffs and gains a shield equal to percentage of her attack. So I was wondering if this was really useful, and Happy Buddha told me that in Season 2, in your story, you may need Yeonhee for certain bosses, and this will help her in terms of her survivability. So I guess there is some utility there, but I mean, if you think about it, currently there's no real need for her in PvP, no real use for her. She's kind of like, she's not even used in extra raid, unlike what we were saying. So most of the things that she was intended for, I mean, she's not really being used for. Yeah, so that is why even with this exclusive item, I'm not sure if it really buffs her utility. And yes, her capability in terms of doing damage will probably be good, because this debuff removal can actually take place when she is incapacitated as well. So she will not have an issue of being stunned or shocked or paralyzed for too long if this skill is ready. Then we have Aquila. For Aquila, she gains this additional effect when she uses her only damage skill. She will gain block efficiency if she's placed in the front, and if she's at the mid line or the back line, she will reduce her debuff durations if she receives any debuffs. So I think it's decent, okay, it's not something very amazing as well to me. She's not even used that much in PvP from what I've been seeing, so I'm not too sure if this is gonna help that much. yeah, I'm a bit skeptical over this as well. So yeah, just for you to know, if you think that this really helps, then go ahead if you want to use her and build her. Okay, the next one is Rez Eileene, and Rez Eileene merely gets 100% chance to paralyze the target. That's all on this skill 1, which is very ironic because she is kind of like a CC unit. She has a lot of paralysis, in fact not a lot, maybe just on 2 skills, and this just makes her first skill do paralyze as well. And I felt that this should have been her default skill set, to be honest. So I can't really accept an exclusive equipment that just gives her more paralysis, which she should already be doing. So to me, this is just not so good, and in the first place, she's not even used that much, you know, in PvP. And finally, we're gonna come back to Evan, because he's supposed to be the first one to be getting his exclusive equipment, but he's not in our server. Okay, so for his exclusive equipment, on his skill 3, he becomes unstoppable and his damage range increases. That's all. I don't think this is gonna boost his utility any further because it doesn't make any difference to his, you know, stats, or I mean, he does get more block rate, but I don't see this changing his game, which is very sad. Okay, so I was strong, and I don't think many people are even building him or using him in the first place. So with all those in mind, I've come up with this list. There are many good exclusive items for PvE purposes, yes. Okay, for your progress. But for PvP wise, I think there are also some strong ones like Ming's and Valdur's. I didn't talk about them as I mentioned because they were mentioned in the previous video. And I think they have very strong exclusive equipment. The only problem is when they will come out. Because if they are released too late, it doesn't make sense because their utility would have dropped by then. So the only way if Netmarble really wants to capitalize on this, or you know, make sure that these exclusive equipments are relevant, is to release them soon. Otherwise, you know, PvP units getting exclusive equipments are always very tricky because they will eventually fall off. Okay, unlike Shane, and Shane just came back, Dellons as well, with their exclusive equipment, they actually made it back into the meta. But yeah, those are exceptional cases. But for Ming and Valdur, because they got released so late in the Korea server, they literally weren't used as much. So I feel that if global server uses what they have learned in Korea server and applies it here, they could potentially release Ming's and Valdur's exclusive equipment much earlier, just like how they did with Spike and Rudy. So yeah, this is my overall evaluation for all the exclusive equipments in the game, including the ones in Korea server. I didn't talk about the heroes that we don't have yet, including Legend Guilahan, Noho, and Legend Adel. So yes, I hope this video helped, and if it did, do give it a like and subscribe to my channel. So big shout out to my channel members Christopher, Tom, Gonzalo, Jeremy, Fahas, Yamaki, Reggie, Bilal, and Sai for their support. Stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much and see you!